Tyler from WeShape. We're going live on Facebook too right now. We're doing a live Q&A. So TikTok, if you guys are watching already and you have some questions, we're going to help you feel better in your body. And that's the topic of today's live Q&A. So post your questions in the comments. I got a couple people here. They're going to pull your questions out. They're going to put them right in front of the screen right here. And my goal is to help you feel better in your body. So how are we going to do that? We're going to teach you how to move better. So one of the things I've been saying over and over again in all the content we put out there and all the different social platforms is moving better is feeling better. So I got a handful of questions that came in already, which we're going to dive into in just a sec. We live on Instagram now? Not yet? Okay, we're about to go live on Instagram too. So y'all on TikTok, Facebook, you got to wait. And then we got Instagram and YouTube. And then we're going to get started answering questions. So again, if you guys are just joining, we're doing a live call on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram to our followers. And what we're trying to do is answer your top questions on what makes your body feel funky. How can we help you feel better in your body again, all right? I'm going to just basically rip through these questions and give you exercises that you can try at home to make you feel better, give you any tips that I've experienced along the way or that I've used with other clients in the past to help them feel better. So again, if you have any questions, post them in the comments. We're going to rip them out of the comments, put them in here, and I'll answer questions as long as I possibly can, you know, at least for a half hour, maybe an hour if we've got enough questions in there. So we'll see how it shakes out. We're live on Instagram now. I see Connor is over there wiggling and stuff. You guys can say something. You guys have to all right. So we're live on Instagram now. Instagram, welcome. Coach Tyler from WeShape, and we're about to do a Q&A to help you feel better in your body. So if you guys have questions, post them in the comments. I'm going to start answering these questions right now as soon as YouTube's up. Are we on YouTube?
Yep.
YouTube's up too. Okay, all right. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Let's do some Q&A to help you feel better in your body. Because one thing I've been saying over and over again, it's really helpful for you to remember this, is moving better is feeling better. So I'm not about going to the gym and getting a big pump so you can look better naked, right? It's about actually learning to move your body better so that you're more connected with your body. When you're more connected with your body, you actually can feel things easier. It's easier for you to move through your daily life. You're stronger, you're more flexible, et cetera, et cetera. So if you have any questions that you want me to ask, post them in the comments below. I am going to start answering questions right now. I'm going to stay here for a while and see what I can do to help as many people as possible feel good in their bodies again. All right. So question number one is that Peanut Bent. I probably shouldn't even read these names up here, but anyways, it says any help with frozen shoulder calcification tendonitis would be appreciated. So we posted a video on TikTok about how to help your shoulders. I believe the exercise was rotations like this. It's called Superman rotations. Okay, and it's a really great exercise for teaching the scapula, which is that big bone back here that pulls your shoulder blade back and down, how to go back and down into place. Because oftentimes with a shoulder, your shoulder and your neck starts to hurt because your pecs, which run from right here, your sternum, to your shoulder, get real tight like this. And these muscles back here, which pull your shoulder blade back, get real weak like this, okay? So when we're in this position, what we really want to do to strengthen our posture and our shoulders is to open our chest up. So I gave this exercise right here. So frozen shoulder is a slightly different issue. Frozen shoulder is where the muscles all together aren't working very well, meaning that I can't even get those muscles to allow me to pull back. And I've had frozen shoulder before once in my life, and it's a horrible, horrible feeling. It basically feels like your neck and your upper back are just in pain all the time. And so what oftentimes happens is when people get frozen shoulder, they get a lot of pain kind of back here, right? And then what do? They bring their arm across their body, and they do this classic cross-body stretch. So it feels good to stretch it. But what you're doing is you're making a muscle in a long position longer, okay? So you're feeding the process. The first one is to stretch your chest. The second one is to continue trying to activate the muscle. Lifting your shoulder blades on your back so that you can actually get your posture to do this naturally, okay? So the first one is a chest stretch, so I'm going to show you right here. You can do a chest stretch on the ground or on the wall. Essentially what you're going to do is you're going to come down to your belly, right? Ground, or you can stand up facing the wall. You're going to put your hand even with your shoulder. You can play around this position too. It can be like up a little bit. So you're going to use this other hand, you're going to rotate, and you're going to look towards the ceiling as you try to swing this leg over it. If you can't go very far, that's fine. It's totally fine, right? And if you need to, you can bend your elbow. That might protect your shoulder even more. But the goal is to find a place where your chest is still in a deep stretch, then take a big inhale, and then relax everything, and try to rotate a little more. And so spend about 30 seconds to a minute on the left side and 30 seconds to a minute on the right side, loosening up your chest first. And what that's naturally going to do is allow that posture to improve. And that's going to make that frozen shoulder feel a little better. It's surprising to people is that when you stretch the muscle that's actually tight rather than the muscle that's long, it actually will make the other piece feel better. So stop doing this one right here and start doing the one where you open your chest, okay? Now, another exercise you can do, one of my favorite stretches of all time, I do this exercise like probably 20 times a day. Take your hands, clasp them behind your back like this if you can, straighten your arms, and then just think about lifting your chest toward the sky. And when you do this, you might get some pops in your upper back. You might feel your shoulders really open up. The goal is to pull your shoulder blades back while you're doing this. You hold that thing for like 20, 30 seconds and try to repeat it frequently throughout the day. That's going to help open the chest and activate those muscles in the shoulder blades that pull your shoulder blades back and down. And that's going to make that frozen shoulder feel significantly better. Now, I should have said this from the start. I'm not a doctor. I'm not your doctor. So I have to throw it out in the disclaimer, like, check with your doctor, check with somebody who can really make sure that you're doing stuff. But I have helped a lot of people feel better in their bodies, and that's what I'm here to do today. So if you try those tips out, just go slow. Don't hurt yourself. Don't be stupid, right? Again, if you guys are just showing up, we're doing a live call Q&A where we're trying to answer as many questions as we can to help you feel better in your body. Okay? How do you move better to feel better? So if you have a question, post in the comments. We'll toss it up in this sheet, and I'll keep going through it. So we just touched on frozen shoulder. Let's go to the next one right here. So I can pronounce this one. At little hutch. All right. So the question was, I get so sore right in the front of my hip, and sore and tight in the front of my hip, and across the top of my hip crest. Okay. So I believe what they're talking about is the hip flexor. Okay. So let me show you something. The hip flexor basically runs from the knee all the way into the back of the spine and into the core, all the hip flexor muscles. The psoas actually connects the back of the spine into the femur, right? And so what happens is this muscle gets really tight when our knee stays close to our chest all day. What does knee staying close to our chest mean? Guys, what do you think? What? Sitting, right? Sitting. When we stand, is our knee close to our chest? No. When we sit, it's close to our chest. So all the muscles of the hip, the front side of the hip, get really tight for most people because we sit too dang much. It's really something that we need to stop doing and start like actually moving our bodies more. So I'm gonna show you how to stretch your hip flexor. Some of my favorite ways to stretch the hip flexor. I'll go from a real beginner version, and then I'll show you a couple more difficult variations. Okay, or not necessarily difficult, but just a little more complex. So the first hip flexor stretch is just basically if you're standing with your feet straight forward in a nice line. You just take one step back, make sure your toes are still facing forward, then take your hips. Here's the big kicker here is when you bring that foot back, don't open the hips up like this where they're turned sideways. Keep your hips facing straight forward, okay? From right there, what you're gonna wanna do is drive that back heel into the ground, and you can play with the width of your stance. If you have really tight hip flexors, your width will be more narrow. If they're loose, your width will be wider, okay? From there, really think about driving your hips forward towards your front heel. But more than anything, think about length right here. So what I'm trying to say is this. Don't just drop down towards the ground like this. Think about like from my heel all the way through the top of my head is like the longest line possible. The more you feel that stretch coming all the way through the front side of your hip, the more you're really targeting that hip flexor. Now, if you're in this position and you're like, I'm not feeling it, I'm not feeling it. Another way to try this is coming down to a kneeling position on the ground. Now, if you have rough knees, put a pillow under your knee. You don't have to have any no pain, no gain on this one, right? Again, take your hips, turn them forward, and this time drop your pelvis towards your heel, and think about the most length possible from this knee to this knee, okay? So really thinking about spreading the legs out like this. That subtle cue right there of trying to create space inside the joint makes a huge difference because inside your pelvis, your hip sits in there in a ball socket, right? And if you make space, what happens is it goes like this. It creates a little bit of space for that hip to move so you can stretch those muscles more effectively. If you don't, if you stay cramped up like this, then it stays real cramped up inside the joint. So we want to think about always creating space, okay? Same thing with all stretches. When you're here, just try to hold this position, take a big breath in, find the tight spot, and go, and relax and let that tight spot open up that hip flexor, right? So this is kind of more like I would call it a medium difficulty variation. If you want to get crazy, you can always reach back and you can grab the foot with one or two hands and pull that foot up while you're doing that same stretch. That's going to stretch your hip flexors like crazy. So try one of those 3 variations. Again, standing. If this is hard or you have a tough time balancing, you can always use something for support. You should never have any excuses. And this is about loosening up your hip, not creating better balance, right? But that should really help you stretch your hip flexors. One final mention on this question, though, is that a hip flexor is a lower body muscle, and oftentimes lower body muscles can take a long time to loosen up. And so don't just stretch it for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. I would highly recommend, if you really want to loosen up your hip flexors, 90 seconds, 2 minutes per side. Do that once a day, and oh my gosh, you're going to feel so much better. And honestly, when you have looser hip flexors, you can walk faster. You have less likelihood of injuring your lower back, right? So there's a lot of stuff that goes on when you have nice loose hip flexors. So, all right, woo! So we got past a little bit of frozen shoulder. We got a little hip flexor tightness. If you guys are just joining us right now, we're doing a live Q&A. I'm Coach Tyler, the head coach and co-founder of WeShape, and my goal is to help people feel better in their bodies again. So if you have any questions you have about like aches, pains, injuries, how to overcome them, how to get started on a workout routine, what's the best exercise for me if I want to do this, right? Any questions you have related to you moving better in your body and feeling better in your body, go ahead and post them in the comments right now, and our team's going to take them and put them right in front of you. I'm going to do my best to help you feel better in your body today, okay? Okay, here we go. All right. Next question. How can you help with arthritis in your SI joint? So I'm going to take this as a two-prong approach. But before I do, if you guys are digging this video, you like those last couple tips, hit that like button. Give me some likes. Give me some love. Share it with a friend. Let's get some eyeballs on this video so I can help more people, right? That's my goal. Okay, so how do I help with arthritis in your SI joint? I'm going to take this from 2 different directions. One is arthritis, and one is tight SI joint, okay? So the first one is arthritis. Arthritis is an inflammatory condition in your body, okay? And what it's often caused by is things that cause inflammation in your body. Now, I know that sounds incredibly simple, but it kind of is in a certain sense. And so the first thing I would say to anybody who has arthritis in general, especially if they have it in their SI joints causing them lower back pain, is to try to remove as many of the inflammatory foods in your diet as possible, and try to just generally have a more anti-inflammatory lifestyle. So what does this mean? Getting a good night's sleep can help your body process all of the inflammation in the body and get out of it, right? Practicing something like intermittent fasting and giving your body a little bit of a chance to digest all the food and get through it can help reduce inflammation. Taking supplements like fish oil, high in omega-3s, specifically EPA and DHA, can help reduce inflammation in the body. Turmeric with curcumin can help reduce inflammation in the body. Drinking lots of water can help reduce inflammation in the body. Avoiding things like sugar, wheat, some of the other inflammatory foods, soy can cause inflammation in the body. So generally speaking, if there's any sort of inflammatory condition in your body that's causing you to feel bad, highly recommend just trying to do the things that you need to do to remove inflammation from your body. So again, real quick tips is good night's sleep, drink a lot of water, and avoid sugar and grains, and that should get you off to a pretty good start right there. If you're talking about your SI joint and the tightness in it, and that's causing that lower back pain, then I'm going to go over a little exercise. Maybe we'll try a couple of them right now to show you. So the SI joint, I'm going to stand up for this one. The SI joint is your hips kind of meet right here, okay? Your sacrum is the bottom of your spine, and your hip comes off the sacrum. And right there's this joint. It's called the sacroiliac joint. And that joint right there has a lot of nerves that come out of your spine and come through it, and they go down your leg like this. And so when that joint is tight, it's not flexible, or it's pinching on a nerve, it can manifest as lower back pain, hip pain, knee pain, ankle pain, a lot of different things. So the SI joint is one of those joints where if it's not very mobile, then it can cause a lot of different problems, okay? So how do we open up the SI joints? I'm going to show you 2 different ways. One is to stretch your glute, and one is to traction your hips. So let's do the traction hips one first. And if you're watching this and you got a nice chair like this, then I invite you to follow along with me, because this is a good one. And you can just lay in this position afterwards and watch the rest of this Q&A if you want to. So this is a cool exercise. You take your back and you lie down on the ground with your legs up on a couch or a chair, right? Essentially, it's almost like you were in a chair and you got tipped over backwards, right? What you want to do is get some sort of pillow or cushion behind your knees, so that way it feels like somebody's almost pulling your legs up toward the sky, and you have to like let your hips kind of settle towards the ground a little bit. you just want to have it feel like somebody's pulling this leg out of the hip socket a little bit. That's why you put the little pillow cushion right there, okay? From there, try to think about lengthening your spine. So start at the pelvis. Think about long spine, long, tall at the top of the head. Relax the shoulders. And then you can just literally relax here. Relax in this position. Let the hips open up. What this does is it kind of creates space inside the hip capsule, creates a little bit of space inside the SI joint. You can sit here for anywhere from like 10 to 30 minutes and then slowly come out of that position. And when you stand up or you move around, you start to go, whoa, oh, my hips feel kind of good. My lower back feels kind of good. So that's like an immediate fix. If you ever get your SI joint, it feels like a stabbing pain, I would highly recommend doing this traction exercise and holding it for a long period of time, trying to hit it every single day for a little while until that pain starts to go away. Okay. The next one is stretching your glutes. Okay. The glutes are biggest, strongest, most powerful muscles in our lower body. And if those muscles are really tight and you don't have very good control over them, it can kind of keep the SI joint into a bad position, which is where your pelvis is either tucked under too far, like this, or sticking out too far like this, right? So we call that the Donald Duck posture. That can put pressure on that SI joint. And this right here, the bad posture, that can put pressure on the SI joint right there, okay? So stretching the glute can help both of those things. So one way to stretch the glute is to simply cross your ankle over your knee, if you can do this, and then to bow forward towards your foot. And when you do this, you'll feel the muscles on the outside of the hip with the bent knee start to stretch. And you go, ooh, that feels pretty good. It feels pretty tight. Whatever it may feel, it might not feel that great, okay? But at first, just hold it. Take a big breath in. Find the pain. That's one of those things when you're stretching. Find the spot that feels really tight. Breathe into it. Imagine you're breathing air into it. And then when you exhale, try to really let the tension out. So sometimes people will recommend even going, oh, I know if you have somebody next to you and you're doing that, it might seem kind of silly, but if you're willing to do that and kind of be a little bit extra silly while you're doing this, it can be really helpful in loosening that joint up. So hold this position. Again, the lower body muscles take a lot longer to loosen up than the upper body muscles. So you can hold this for like 2, 3, 4 minutes. Keep bowing forward kind of towards that foot right there. And if you need to, you can put your hand there and press it outside for support. And that's going to really loosen up your glutes. So make sure you do both sides, hold it for a couple minutes. If that's still not working, and that's not quite to the glute, you're a little bit more flexible, you can bring your foot across your knee like this instead of open like this, like that. And then you could grab your leg and try to turn around backwards like that. That'll put a big stretch on your glutes. Pretty much impossible for you not to feel pretty deep there. So those two things should help quite a bit with the SI joint. So laying on the back and then stretching the glutes out. And remember, if you got arthritis, just get the inflammatory things out of your day, right? Get a good night's sleep, drink water, eat clean foods, get rid of all the stuff that's junky. Eat a lot more of the basics. Meat, vegetables, nuts, seeds, fruits, things like that, okay? All right. We got a bunch more questions here, you guys. But if you have any questions you can answer about how to help you move better and feel better in your body, go ahead and post them in the comments. My team's pulling them out of there. They're putting them in this sheet right here in front of my eyes. And like I said, my goal is just to help you guys move better in your body. And by the way, if you're watching this and you're enjoying it, I want you guys to know that at WeShape, we have the world's first personalized workout program that takes every single exercise you're going to do in a follow-along video format and personalizes it just to you. So the exercise is just like this to help you move better and feel better. And I'm going to hook you guys up with a really awesome deal today. If you want to check it out, you can get your first year for 66% off the price. If you guys want to check that out, go to WeShape.com/year. Check that out. This isn't like some fake promo. It's actually a thing we're running until the end of the day on Monday. So if you go back to that page after Monday, you're not going to get that crazy deal anymore. All right. Again, questions, post them below. I'm going to jump into the next one right now. Okay, so this is from Jerry. I have hip pain due to arthritis. What are some good exercises? So without seeing Jerry move, I can't really give them like the best advice ever. But one thing I will say about the hip joint is that the hip joint has a lot of muscles that stabilize your body rotational. Okay, so oftentimes when people have hip pain, the muscles that are strong are like the glute max, right? The hip flexors, maybe the hamstrings, the quads. But the muscles that are weak are the little tiny muscles inside the hips that stabilize the rotation and the lateral movement of the leg, okay? So my favorite exercise for anybody who has weaker hips is to progress towards an exercise called a drinking bird. So I'm going to show you kind of a beginner variation, a little bit more intermediate variation, and a little bit more of an advanced variation for you to practice, okay? So with that hip hang, you're going to go straight forward with the toes, hands on the hips, and you're going to put your weight 90% in your heels, okay? Almost like you're falling backwards when you do this exercise. Keep the back nice and flat and the head nice and tall. You're going to hinge forward at the hips. Now here's the kicker here. I want to teach your hip rotators and your glutes how to bring you back to an upright position. Most people who have hip hang, when they do this, they're going to use their lower back muscles to bring them to an upright position, and they're never going to learn how to strengthen these muscles. So if you watch my knees real carefully, watch what happens. I'm bent forward like this. If I imagine turning my knees outward, like rotating them to the outside like this, you're going to feel muscles inside your hips start to fire. When those muscles start to fire, think about keeping those knees turned outward, and you'll feel those muscles slowly bring you to an upright position, okay? Really practice this. It's very important to really feel the right muscles. So hinging down, turning those knees out, feeling the glute muscles and the hip rotators stabilize you to an upright position, okay? Practice that, do 10 or so reps. You might start to feel those muscles burn, go nice and slow and controlled. If that was too easy for you, then let me show you how to really start working on strengthening those hip muscles, okay? The next one is going to be a variation of drinking bird where we kind of use some stuff around us for balance. If you need to, get a chair, something next to you, whatever for balance. But the goal is now to do this on one foot. So you can hinge forward at the hips, use this foot for support if you need to. Again, use a chair, something for balance. And then you can just pause in a slightly hinged forward position and try to find your balance here. And then slowly try to come to the top position like this. You need to use your foot for support, that's fine. And stand here like this, okay? And you can repeat that, just trying to hold that motion for about a minute on the left side, a minute on the right side. What you should notice is the muscles in the rotators of your hip are going to start to burn like crazy. That means we're waking up muscles that we haven't used in a long time. Now, if this looks like an exercise that you're not really sure how to roll into your daily routine, well, first of all, you can go to WeShape, and we have this exercise and all these progressions built into the workouts that we offer you guys. So again, if you want a personalized at-home workout that you can follow along to, go to WeShape.com/year, and we're going to hook you guys up with a super sweet deal. Oh, I got it behind. Oh, there you go. The website is right behind us, just in case you guys want to check that out. But if you spend a lot of time doing something in your day, you can always anchor an exercise like this to the thing that you do in your day. So what I mean by this is this. Like, for example, if you want to strengthen that hip and you want to learn how to balance better on that one leg to get those hip muscles going, every time you brush your teeth, if you brush your teeth for 2 minutes, stand on your left leg for 1 minute while you're brushing, stand on your right leg for another minute while you're brushing. And you can literally just stand there like this. Like I said, that finished position at the top. Or if you want to, you can also hinge at the hip a little bit and see if you can hold that position while you're brushing your teeth. Switch your legs like this, and now you've got something that you do every day, brushing your teeth, being attached to something that's going to benefit you if you do it every day, learning how to balance on one leg, which helps immensely with hip pain, okay? So that drinking bird, all the variations of that exercise, so good for it. Oh, I told you to show you more advanced ones. I might as well show you everything. As you get better, put your hands on your hips. You'll be able to move forward and backward into this position with good form. And this is by far, I think it's still probably my favorite lower body exercise in the world. And you guys probably don't know my background all that much, but I've had 5 knee surgeries. So learning how to move properly in the lower body has been something that's like not only just a passion of mine, because I know other people, they get surgeries and injuries and they end up just living their whole life in pain, but also a necessity of mine, right? So this is a really good exercise all around for basically anybody, from anybody who wants to be a runner to just wanting to be able to walk up the stairs again, et cetera, et cetera. So, all right. Woo! We got TikTok, we got YouTube, we got Instagram, we got Facebook, and I got some water right here because my throat's starting to go dry. If you guys have questions, post them in the comments below. Let us know what questions you have. I'm going to sit here for a little while longer, answer as many questions as I can, how to feel better in your body, all right? Because remember, moving better is feeling better. That's something I say over and over again because it's the truth, right? If you don't know how to move your body, if you're not connected to your body's probably not going to feel all that good. But if you are connected to it, it's going to start feeling pretty good. All right. Kathleen. We got a question from Kathleen. This is a great one because we get this question every day, all day long. Kathleen, where do I start if you're new to exercise? This is such a good question, and honestly, this is the reason why we started WeShape in the first place. I was a personal trainer a long time ago, and I would watch people come to the gym, and personal trainers would put them on the treadmill and stare at their phone while they're texting their friends. They put them on machines and stuff like that, and I was like, this is not helping people learn how to actually move their bodies better, which to me is what really, really helps people feel better in their bodies and get long-term results, right? Because the moment you start feeling like, whoa, I'm feeling different, then you're inspired to keep moving. You're inspired to keep exercising. But the majority of the programs out there and a lot of the most popular stuff out there right now is kind of like old school thinking, like just sitting on a bike or a treadmill or whatever. Like, like if you sit on a bike for hours a day, like, are you rehearsing good posture? No, probably not, right? So learning how to move your body in space, to me, is a much better way to go. So that's the first part of this, is where do you start when you exercise? Start by learning how to move your body. And remember that the golden rule of results is what? What do we think, Ben and Connor? Huh? What's the golden rule of results? Consistency. Consistency. All right. That's the golden rule. All right. The golden rule is consistency. Okay. It's really important just to be consistent with it. All right. If you don't have to do it for hours every day and whatnot, like literally 2 or 3 days a week, 30 or so minutes practicing proper movements is what's going to get you really awesome results. And that's what we do with our workouts at WeShape. They're 30-minute at-home workouts that you can do from the comfort of your own home with no equipment, and every exercise is personalized to you. If you want to get that a shot, go to WeShape.com/here. We got a special promo running until Monday. Okay? Kathleen, I'm going to give you 2 exercises that I believe everybody should be doing. And I'll show you a few different variations of them just so that you can know that anybody can do these exercises. Okay? The first one is a lower body exercise, and it's called the sit to stand. All right? It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to go from sitting to standing, and then I'm going to go back to sitting, and I'm going to repeat the process. Okay? So a very beginner variation of this is to put your hands on your knees, to bring your feet slightly outside of hip width, toes slightly turned outward. When you look down, you want to make sure that your knees and your thigh bones are going the same direction as your toes. If when you stand up, your knees go in like this, it puts a lot of undue pressure inside the knee joint, and it's not going to feel that good in the long run. Okay, so take your time, move well with this. So hands on the knees, you're going to press into the heels, and you're going to stand up, and you can use as much arm strength as you need to make this happen. Okay, and then on the way back down, hands back on the thighs. Push your knees out. Don't let the knees cave in like this. Push the knees out. Come down slowly and repeat the process, right? You can always inhale before you stand up. Exhale as you finish the top position, so you can start practicing your breathing rhythm of that. And just repeat that process, okay? That's a basic sit to stand. Now, if that's too easy for you, you can do a sit to stand without your arms on your legs, right? So you can go a little faster. Inhale as you go down. Exhale as you come up, right? Get to the point where you can do 20 of these guys without feeling too exhausted, and you can keep making it harder. You can add a little help at the top, right? You can add a little help at the top, and it's going to make your cardiovascular output go through the roof, right? So this is what's referred to as a movement progression. It's all the same exercise, but we're slowly making it more sophisticated and slightly more difficult so that you continuously get results, right? That's what we do with every exercise over at WeShape, is we break them down from absolutely beginner exercises all the way to very difficult variations, and then we try to give you the right variation at the right time for your individual goals and capabilities, okay? And let me show you, just in case that assisted sit to stand was still too hard for you, you can literally, if you can't get up out of bed and you're laying in bed right now, you can literally put your feet with your toes straight forward like this and press your feet into the bed of the couch and feel those thigh muscles go, and then relax. And press your feet into the couch, and then relax. And repeat this for 10 to 20 reps, okay? So that is literally a foundation of what could be a sit to stand or a jump squat or something in the future, okay? So that's the first exercise, is the sit to stand. You can do this exercise for 3 to 5 rounds of about 30 seconds of work for each round, and then go back and forth between this and just your basic push-up, okay? I'm going to show you a few different variations of the push-up too. I'm going to grab a chair right here for this one. This is probably the wrong chair for you guys to use at home, so don't use a chair like this at home, but I'm going to do it anyways. I like to live on the edge, stay efficient. So this is called a high chair push-up. So what you want is a sturdy chair in front of you, or a desk or a dresser. Like, make sure that thing is sturdy, right? I don't want anybody like losing some teeth or falling on my account, okay? So you're going to basically come into a push-up position on the chair. What big thing on the push-up position is making sure that you activate your core. So don't stick your butt out like this, right? Think about squeezing your glutes and holding it tight the whole time. Now you want to bend your elbows, come down as far as you can, and then come back up, right? Inhaling as you go down, exhaling as you go up, nice and slow and controlled, okay? Now, if this is too easy for you, you can just turn the chair around. Same thing, I like to put my fingers to the outside. That'll help spare the wrists a little bit, right? And then you're going to go down and up. Like I said, this chair feels a little rickety to me, so maybe I'll be the one losing teeth on it. So anyways. So slow and controlled on the low chair. If that's too easy for you, then you can go down to the ground and you can do that kneeling instead. So that would be on your knees like this, again, squeezing your glutes and doing your push-ups like this, right? If that's too easy for you, you could do regular push-ups. Now, that was just 4 variations. We've broken down almost every exercise into 10 plus variations. So there's more to that, but Kathleen, the basics are what get results, okay? So remember what I said when in the beginning of this question, I said consistency is number 1, right? So be consistent. So carve out the time in your schedule to get a good workout. My recommendation is at least 2 days a week, and ideally, 20-ish minutes, 30-ish minutes. Not that much time commitment, okay? But carve out that time. And if you want to just do those 2 basic exercises, the sit to stand and the push-up, you can just go back and forth with each one of those, do 5 rounds of each one of those where, you're going for 30 to 40 seconds on the squats, 30 to 40 seconds on the push-ups, rest 20 or so seconds in between. Boom. Fantastic workout. And over time, as whatever variation of the exercise you're doing gets easier, you just go to the next harder variation and accept the fact that you're going to struggle a little bit more and lose a few more reps, but you're getting stronger and you're learning how to move your body better the entire time. All right. So keep it simple. Anybody who's starting to exercise is brand new to it. Don't make excuses. Everybody can do this. All right. Well, where are you? Half hour into this thing? Dang. All right. Well, if you guys are liking this and you're watching and having a fun time, hit those like buttons, those heart buttons, those share buttons, right? Share the stream on TikTok or whatever, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I really appreciate you guys doing that because we're here trying to help people feel better in their body again. All right. So, and if you have any questions, post them below. I might pick up the pace a smidge on these questions just to make sure that we get as many answered as soon as possible. So let's jump over to Rachel. Oh, cool. It's a question about the promo. So yeah, we're running a promotion at WeShape right now. Normally, it costs $299 a year to do our workouts, which honestly, in my opinion, I think is pretty affordable already. It's like less than $1 a day to get personalized follow-along workouts. And if you check them out, guys, I think you're just gonna love them. Like people say that, but check it out. If you don't like it, you can get a full refund, whatever, right? So at the end of the day, these workouts were designed out of a labor of love. For the last couple of years, it took us a while to build the technology that would allow you to be able to change the difficulty of your exercises while you're following along to the workout. Like our goal is to make it feel like you're doing a workout alongside me, and you say, "Oh, this exercise is too hard," and I go, "Okay, try this one instead. Make it a little bit easier." And our team, who's behind the cameras right here too, did a wonderful job over the last while, making sure that we built really, really well-designed form cues to help you not only move better, but move better so that you can feel better in your body again, right? We want to make sure people are protected against injury and that they strengthen the right muscles so they can start moving their body around in real life. So yes, this is a year promo where you're going to get a year's worth of workouts for just $99. So it's 66% off the normal price. This promo does end on Monday. This is not a fake scarcity deal where on Monday or Tuesday you're going to show up and you're going to see the same deal. It's going to go back to $299. So if you guys want to check it out now while it's still live right now. And it goes from basically when you sign up to the next year. So you can get a year's worth of workouts for a really, really good rate. And also a little hint drop here. We're about to run our first ever 30-day Feel Better Challenge here, I think, in May. So as a member, you're going to get free access to that. Which is going to be fun. A lot of community stuff. We've ran some challenges in the past, and it's been really fun to see, how engaged people can get and the results people can get as they go throughout this. It's awesome. Yeah, Ben's over there telling me to say something, but I don't know.
Give them likes.
Yeah, what's that?
If they want to join, get some likes. Let us know you're interested.
Yeah, there you go. Give them like. He said, "Give us some likes. Give us some likes." All right, okay. Again, if you guys have questions, post them below. Let's get as many questions answered as we can. Okay. Jolene, I have bone on bone in both knees. Any gentle exercises to be able to do? I have a hard time getting up and down off the floor for floor exercises. Oh, Jolene, I got some passion for you right now. So as I mentioned before, if you guys have been on the call for long enough, I've had 5 knee surgeries, 1 on the left, 4 on the right. The most recent right knee surgery was just 7 months ago. It was a long overdue one because I too had bone on bone, a knee joint. I didn't have much of a meniscus left, and I didn't have an ACL. And so I know what it's like to walk around the world and have your knee dislocate when you stepped off a curb wrong, and which is really frustrating because I'm somebody who maintains his fitness level as much as I possibly can. So to be like taken down by a curb is really humbling in a lot of ways. And so over the years, I've had to learn a lot about how to properly exercise when you have things like bone-on-bone knee pain, right? So the big thing I will share with you is there's kind of two ways to look at the knee. The first thing is right now you're probably putting a lot of undue pressure on your knees because of poor movement. So I'm going to talk about that real quick first. Whenever we move our knee forward and backward, there's always a slight rotation and a slight lateral movement, side to side movement, right? And this little rotation and lateral movement, that's what kind of causes those little wears and tears over the years, right? Now we should have a little bit of play in there. The joint is designed to move well like that. But if every step we take, we watch our knee rotate in like this on every single move we make right there, you're going to put a lot of pressure inside that knee joint. If every time you squat like this, and on the way back up, you watch your knees wiggle in like that, you're going to put a lot of pressure on your knee joint. So oftentimes people who end up with knee injuries, if they aren't acute, like meaning you get hit by a car or something like that, it's probably because you had poor movement that was installed in you when you were younger and you never fixed it, okay? So the first thing is making sure that your knee is always going the same direction as your toes. So one of my favorite exercises for this is called the split squat. You can start out just doing a half split squat too if you want to. Like again, this is something you don't need to push, especially when you have bone-on-bone knee pain, okay? Move slow and controlled. If you want to put something next to you for support, you can put something next to you for support. Make it easy at first. It should be nice and easy. So a split squat is going to be hip straight forward. The front foot is flat on the ground with the majority of the weight on the heel, and the back foot is on the ball of the foot with obviously the weight on the ball of the foot. What you're going to do is bend the front knee, bend the back knee, come down as deep as you feel comfortable, and then stand back up. Now, if you have weak knees like this, and this is your bad knee right here, your worst knee, you can bend it. You might start to see your legs shake right there. It's fine to hold it in that position for a second, and then slowly come back up. That little movement right there can do so much to strengthen your quad and your knee. And then if it's in the front knee right here, oftentimes when people lunge, they'll put a lot of pressure in front of their knee like this, a lot of weight, and if you're not strong enough, that's going to put a lot of pressure on your kneecap. It's going to make it feel pretty bad. So first tip is do that split squat and really start to go slow. Strengthen the ability to have your knee over your toe on the back leg. On the front leg, instead of bending through the knee, think about hinging through the hip. So I'll go back to the squat for this one. Instead of squatting like this, where your knees go forward, right? Where your knees go forward and then you come down. I want you to do the opposite. I want you to put 70% of the weight on your heels, hinge through the hips like you're bowing forward, and then bend through the knees, but really try to think about the glutes and the hamstrings holding this position. Kind of similar to what we talked about earlier on the call with the drinking burp, right? When you do this correctly, you'll feel the pressure not on your knees and go to your hips instead. And if you practice it in that sit to stand, just coming up and down like this, you're going to go, wow, I can actually move more pain-free or perhaps even pain-free for the first time ever when I de-emphasize loading the knee joint and emphasize loading the hip joint, okay? So there's the two different things you can do to work on those knees. One is as you're doing regular squats, like you said, getting up off the floor, right? Well, getting on the floor can be a squatting exercise, right? Putting that foot down, coming to a squatting position, right? Finding your form, putting the weight on the heels, not through the knees, right? Taking your time, practicing that motion. I think one of the things that some of our members have commented on is like, oh, sometimes it's hard for me to get up off the floor to get to the next exercise. Like we should put more rests in there. I say, no, that's the whole point. The exercise is being able to get up off the floor in between the exercises. So it's like a supplemental thing that you can use to actually get even better results, right? But be mindful with that movement, move slow. And the second thing that I mentioned, just to recap, is being able to strengthen having your knee over your toe, but in a controlled manner. If I just had you squat like this with your knees over your toes and you have bad knees, bad idea. But if you put your foot back like this and the majority of the weight's in the front and you're bending your knee and you're strengthening that quad muscle right here, you're feeling it shake. You get to that position, it goes, woo, starts to shake, and you slowly press your toe out of it. Now you're going to build the strength in that quad that's going to help support you when your knee does go over your toe, okay? So slow and controlled, slow and steady, but you can also do a lot of reps of these things. The more reps you do with good form, the more practice you get with that movement, the more practice you get, the more natural it is for you to move that way, which means now you get to move better without having to think about it, all right? Okay, woo, where are we at right now? I feel like I've been talking nonstop.
40 minutes.
40 minutes? Okay. Okay, I'm going to go for 20 more, you guys. So I have a fair amount of questions coming in right now. I'm going to probably not get to them all today, but we're going to do more live calls just like this. I'm going to do my best to help you feel better in your body again. One thing to remember is if you're joining the call, I am not your doctor, and I highly recommend you checking with your doctor. Don't write us and sue us for me giving you exercise advice, right? Let's all be smart about moving our bodies, okay? I actually don't like the disclaimer part, to be personally honest, but they make me do it. Actually, he writes it in big red. Says, disclaimer, disclaimer. We got to stay safe. Okay, I'm going to go a little faster here. We got bone on bone knees. So let's talk about eat more protein. Okay, this is good. The question was, I'm trying to eat more protein. Any tips? I love that question. Such a simple question. Now, before I answer the question, I will say one simple thing is that when I used to teach people nutrition programs, when we used to run group training programs in our local city here, one thing I noticed is that I started with this whole nutrition book, and I would give it to somebody, and they would be like, I'm not doing this, right? Too big of a book. And then I started breaking it down into, okay, here's some rules and some recipes. And I got a little more success. Here's even more basic rules and more basic recipes. And when I broke it down on the most simple levels, when I started seeing thousands and tens of thousands of people start to see amazing results, right? And so in the world of nutrition, I try to keep it as simple as humanly possible, okay? And those rules are simple. Drink enough water, especially first thing in the morning before you start eating. Now, the next rule is make sure you eat enough protein, especially the first meal of the day. Why is this important? When you eat protein as the first meal of the day, it's going to release neurotransmitters in your brain that make you feel more full. In addition to this, if you're exercising, protein helps rebuild muscle. In addition to this, it takes calories to burn or to convert protein into muscle. So even if you're eating 500 calories worth of protein, it could take like 100 calories of that protein to digest the protein, right? So it's like calories at a discount at the end of the day. So to me, one of the most easy things to focus on in your diet to improve the results that you get from your workouts or just your lifestyle in general, try to make a priority out of consuming quality protein, okay? So how do we eat more protein? Make it simple. One of the things that my wife did a long time ago in the past was she used to make these egg muffins, right? Where she'd crack like a bunch of eggs, mix in some mushrooms or bacon or whatever, and you can make like 24 of these egg muffins at a time. Then you can just put them in the fridge. You can toss them in the microwave, toss them back in the oven, whatever makes sense, right? And you can have these every day, super quick, super easy, super affordable, no excuses in that respect. I'm a little bit different. I'm a little bit more of a plain Jane with stuff like this sometimes. So I would say that my favorite way to get a whack of protein is to have like something like sausage first thing in the morning. Like literally, you can have like a chicken apple sausage or two of them. Boom, eat those bad boys. You have 25 grams of protein in like 10 minutes. Super quick to cook, and you'll be full for a long time after that. You will not be thinking about your next meal. Like don't go drink the sugar coffee in the morning, right? Make sure you have your protein in the morning. Now, one final thought about that would be protein shakes, man. I think that people give protein shakes a bad rap, and I'm not here recommending that you take, a low quality protein or a dairy based protein if your body doesn't like dairy. Like I used to drink a lot of whey protein, and I had acne everywhere, and I was like, oh wait, it's the dairy, right? So I think you need to find a protein that works for you. My favorite protein that works really good for my digestion is a collagen based protein. I think it's an amazing way to start your day. You can mix in like a chocolate collagen based protein with coffee in the morning, and wow, now you've got a mocha that has protein in it. Like, talk about a great way to start your day. That's going to give you those neuropeptides. They're going to make you feel full all day. It's going to help you recover faster from your workouts, and it's going to taste good with your coffee instead of having to go to Starbucks and have them pump a bunch of sugar in there, right? So I think that's a really good one. And then just finding the protein sources for your other meals, like lunches and dinners, that you really enjoy and that you can cook. That doesn't bother you to cook. If it's tossing salmon in the oven with a little bit of pesto on top, right? Such an easy one to do that can produce such a delicious food, right? Learning how to do steaks on barbecue in 10 minutes or whatever. Like that's another great thing too. So, anyways, there's some tips for protein. Let's keep this thing going here. All right. Ben's he's like, dude, you saying you're gonna go faster than you talk about protein for 5 minutes, right? Yeah. Okay, so I struggle climbing stairs. I'm literally going upstairs on all fours. Well, first of all, let me say I'm sorry. That's horrible. That must feel really shitty. Sorry, that's the swear word there. But I know what it's like to walk through my life and have days where you're like, God, I'm in so much pain right now, and I have a lot of empathy for people who are in that position. The good news is walking up the stairs and learning how to walk up the stairs is a really good exercise in and of itself, okay? And so what I would do if I was you is I would make sure to find a staircase nearby your home that you can access pretty easily so that you can practice this. And what you're going to do is make sure the rail's nice and sturdy, okay? And you got a box on it? Yeah, you got the box. This will be better. You sir? You're going to practice that first step, okay? That first step is the whole game, okay? So you're going to put your foot on the step, nice and flat on there. The majority of the weight's on your heel. So again, I'm assuming that since you have to walk up on all fours, you need to strengthen your legs. You probably have some aches and pains and injuries, right? Put the weight on the heel. Then what people do here is this. People do this. They bring their knee in front of their toe, and they try to use their quad muscle and their knee joint to stand up. What did we just learn? We just learned that that's really hard, right? That's not what most people can do, especially if you have injuries, you haven't done this kind of stuff. So instead of that, what I want you to do is put your foot on the step, grab the rail, right? And then hinge to the hip, bow forward, grab that rail, press the heel into the ground, and go up on the back toe. You see that little lift that makes it less of a step right there? Go up on that back toe, and then see if you can come to a standing position. Boom, like that. And then slowly come back down. And just repeat that first step. Slowly up and back down. Again, you're using the rail for support, and you're practicing feeling this inside your glute muscles and your hamstrings rather than inside your knee. And again, like we just practice in a box. You don't even need a staircase, right? You just put a chair next to you in a box and just literally do about 10 on the right, 10 on the left, whatever feels comfortable for you. But the big thing is this. Don't bring your knee over your toe and keep your torso upright and think that you're going to use, like that hurts my knee, right? Instead, foot flat, weight in the heel, weight in the glute. So feel it in the butt right there. Feel those muscles firing. Go up on that back toe, press into the ground, and then extend the hips fully, trying to stand up nice and tall, okay? The more you practice this slow and controlled, the more likely you're going to be able to walk up those stairs pain-free rather than having to go up on all fours. And this is something that is, it's both a strength movement to get your hamstrings and your glutes stronger and a rehearsal of good movement. So the more frequently you do this exercise, the more likely it is that you're going to walk up on that staircase and you're going to be able to do it, okay? So be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, go slow, don't hurt yourself, and make sure that you really practice stepping up with good form so that way when you approach the stairs, you're not left with the only option having to crawl up the stairs on all fours, all right? Good luck with that, seriously. Okay, we got enough time for a handful more questions. If you guys are digging this, give us a little heart. We love the hearts there. And again, at WeShape, we create personalized at-home workouts, and they're really, really tailored for people who feel like they can't work out. So if you want to check us out and you want to take advantage of our special promo right now, go to WeShape.com/year. We're going to give people for the next 3 days a year of our follow-along workouts, and you can pick if you want to do 2 days a week, 3, 4, 5, 6, or even 7 days a week, right? You can pick whatever your workout schedule you want to be. And again, all the exercises are customized to you. You can adjust them while you're following along to the workout and make sure they're actually appropriate for your goals and your capabilities. Go to WeShape.com/year. Check it out. It's $99 for the entire year. Promo ends Monday, all right? If you come after Monday, it's going to be $300 instead of $99. All right. A couple more questions. If you guys have questions, post them in the comments. We'll try to speed up the pace here for the last few minutes, all right? So how do you know if you should be stretching hip flexor or strengthening it? Well, that's a good question. I'm assuming that they were watching the video earlier when I was talking about the hip flexor being tight, right? So I think that this is an interesting question because every muscle should be stretched and every muscle should be strengthened at the same time, right? A lot of the movement patterns that I like to teach, the bodyweight exercises that I like to teach, often do both at the same time. So as an example, we were talking about a split squat a few minutes ago, right? A split squat is a cool exercise where as I come down, the deeper I'm able to go in the split squat, the more it puts a stretch on my hip flexor. And if I'm active in the back, if I'm constantly pushing my back toe into the ground, then not only am I stretching that hip flexor, but I'm stretching it while it's maintaining tension. Now, this is really important because oftentimes people think that flexibility is the number one thing you're going to want as you grow older to feel better in your body, okay? But they actually did a study on this, and strength is the number one thing that you want in your body. So how do we create flexibility and strength? Well, we practice movements that cause us to have flexibility and strength at the same time, like the split squat, like a sit to stand, like a kneeling back bend, right? There's a bunch of exercises that can do a lot with very little time and be able to do that. So how do you know if you should stretch your hip flexor, I'll make it real simple. If you come back like this with your foot and you feel immense tightness and you can't extend your hip all the way like this, and you feel a lot of tightness, you should probably stretch your hip flexors. I'll just come out and say something very simple. I rarely meet anybody who shouldn't stretch their hip flexors because of the amount of sitting we do these days. So pretty much I would say you're most likely need to stretch your hip flexors. As far as strengthening your hip flexors, I don't think you need to target them directly. If you do exercises like leg raises, reverse crunches, split squats, etc., you're going to strengthen all those muscles anyways, and it's not going to be a big deal, right? What's more important is not so much thinking about the muscle in isolation, but thinking about how to improve the movement as a whole, right? Because I know you guys are familiar with this already, but I'm going to look in the eyes and say, because moving better. What? Because moving better is feeling better. All right. Cool. Okay. We got 351? Yeah. Okay, so we got 10 minutes. All right. A couple more. Okay. What can I do about foot and ankle mobility? Oh, what a good question. Okay. So ankle mobility is so dang important. People who often roll their ankles don't have good ankle mobility. People who can't squat very well or very deep don't have good ankle mobility. And ankle mobility is an interesting one because we hold so much tension in our ankles. And so I think it's really important for us to continuously stretch it out. So I'm going to show you guys a couple variations of some ankle drills that you can do. Okay, so the first one I'm going to show you is just called a calf rock. So you're going to come all the way up on your toes. You can try to point your toes as far down as you possibly can. And then if you need to for support, you can grab onto something. Then you're going to bring your toes towards your nose, and you're going to go back and forth. Up, toes to nose. It's going to just kind of get a lot of blood flowing in the ankles. It's going to make them a little bit looser, right? It's going to feel real good. You can do this for 10, 20 reps. If that's too hard, you can literally do them sitting, right? Or you can, again, do it for support. It's going to help loosen up the ankles. From there, we can start stretching the calf and the ankle independently, okay? The first stretch I'll show you is a standing calf stretch. So this is kind of like the hip flexor stretch, but I'm not going to be as worried about you bringing your hip as far forward. So from right here, the big thing here is pushing your heel into the ground and straightening your knee. And when you do that, you should feel a stretch in that calf, and you'll see your knee is coming over your toes, okay? That's the flexibility of your ankles. How far can you bring your knee in front of your toes? That's a good sign of that ankle flexibility. Now, if you don't feel much of a stretch here, you can flip it around, and this is kind of too big of a box, but I'll do it anyways. If you have like a book or something on the ground, something that's 2 inches or something like that, you can put your foot in front of you, and you can lean forward into that, and you can try to let that toe come towards your knee like that. And what you're going to do is you're going to feel that big stretch in the back of your ankle. Okay, it's a real good way to loosen up the calf while you're doing this. And the calves are, we walk a lot, right? We're on our feet a lot. The calves are tight, and they take a lot of time. They take a lot of reps. So the more you can stretch your calves, the better. Like literally, you're walking around and you see a staircase and you come stretch your calf for 30 seconds or whatever, right? Throughout the day is a really good way to start thinking about how do you loosen up your body, okay? The final ankle and calf stretch I want to show you is a little bit more advanced, but it's so good for strengthening ankles for the real world, right? Strengthening and stretching ankles for the real world. So bringing your foot in front of you like this, putting your hands on top of your knee, and allowing your knee to come in front of your toes, only if it doesn't hurt and you have healthy knees, and seeing how far you can bring your knee in front of your toe while keeping your heel planted on the ground, right? And you can just come forward and backward in this position, each time trying to get your knee a little bit further. And this one's interesting because you'll feel a calf stretch, but you might feel stretches inside the ankle joint or on top of the ankle joint. As long as it doesn't hurt, then I would practice this throughout the day as well. Really good way to loosen up the ankles, all right? Okay, we got a couple more here we'll do real quick, and then we're going to call this one. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, reshape.com/year, get a fat discount on a year's worth of workouts. Woo! Okay. What are good exercises for a shoulder that has a torn rotator cuff? Okay. This is a tough one. When people ask me, how do I exercise something that's injured? I'm always going to say, talk to your doctor first, because I don't know what's happening in that rotator cuff and whatnot. And I don't know if you need strengthening, you're in like a rehab phase or whatnot. But generally speaking, the rehab phase of learning how to strengthen the rotator cuff is going to be you opening your shoulders backwards like this, okay? And so if you have a little band or something like stretchy, you could put it in front of you and you could do some of these guys right here. If you have a little bit of a weight, you can rest your elbow on your knee and you can rotate your arm out like this. If you want to try our Superman rotations, you can start upright and you can rotate like this and see how that feels in your shoulder, right? You can hinge forward at the hips and rotate to make it even harder. That exercise looks really easy, but surprisingly, you get a weird pump in your body. It's crazy. So I think those are all really good exercises that can help with rotator cuff rehab. But again, check with your doctor. I don't know where you're at with the whole process, so I don't really know how to perfectly answer that one right there. So, okay, I got one more question here I'm going to answer, and then we're going to wrap this bad boy up. So before I do, I just want to say one final mention about this special promo that we're running. It's $99 for a full year. It's normally $299, and we also have a 30-day feel better guarantee. Now, what that means is if you guys are interested in trying our workouts, which again are personalized at-home workouts where every single exercise in your follow-along workout is personalized to you, and then after each exercise, we check in with you. We say, was that too hard? Was that too easy? Was that just right? And if you say it was too hard, we make the exercise easier. If we say just right, we keep it the same. If we say it's too easy, we make it harder, right? So the goal is to continuously help expose you to movements and exercises that slowly over time get harder and harder. And when they get harder for you, you actually get more results, right? That's how I like to train people, is teach them how to move better and everything else takes care of itself. It's not about feeling the pump in your arm, your isolation, or working your core in this sort of way. It's about learning how to move your body as a whole and in a way that doesn't feel bad. And then all of a sudden, everything feels better. So remember, if you want to check that out, it's $99. You get an entire year of workouts. You can choose anywhere from 2 days a week to 7 days a week to work out with us. And you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. And I know all of our customer service people, they are amazing. Just here in the U.S., you can go pick up the phone and talk to you. So anyways, don't feel worried if you want to give it a shot and you're not really sure. So go to WeShape.com/year. Check that out. Promo ends on Monday. At the end of the day on Monday, it's going to be $300 and you're not going to be able to do this. So check that out. Okay. All right. For exercises where you're pressing your lower back into the wall, I always struggle keeping my lower back against the wall. But I could see you did have some gap. Am I taking it too literally? Okay, so this is really good. So oftentimes when we use the wall for support, and I'll use the floor instead of the wall just because it's easy to see. What I'll say is press your back into the wall. And if there's a little bit of a gap here, right, this is kind of a natural arch in the lower back. If we want to get to this position called a hollow position, it's thinking about pressing your lower back into the wall. But a better way to put it, in my opinion, is to cough and hold the end of the cough, right? So it's like this. You're here and hold the end of the cough. From there, try to relax your shoulders, keeping that pelvic tuck and a tight core. That's when you want to use the wall to do, wall slide exercises, posture-derived exercises, and stuff like that. So I would say it's okay if your back's off the wall, just a smidge like this. But if somebody has a posture where their back's off the wall like this, or their neck's off the wall and their back's off the wall, then you've got this big S curve of the spine. It's not going to be good for you. Your neck's going to hurt. Your lower back's going to hurt. So just resetting and trying to press that lower back into the wall, get tall to the top of the head, and then trying to relax in that position, try to maintain as much of that posture as possible. It's just a really good exercise in general, just to remind us all how to maintain good posture at the end of the day. So don't beat yourself up if your back comes up the wall a little bit. You may be taking it too literally, but I also want to make sure that when people are doing wall drills like that they're trying real hard to keep that back in contact with the wall. All right, you guys. Woo! I believe that was about an hour of Q&As, and we still have a bunch of questions left in here, so we're going to have to do this again here soon, which we're going to try to do a lot more of, because, again, our goal is to help people learn how to move their bodies better so you can feel better in your body again. Thank you to everyone who posted comments. Thank you to everyone who gave us a like and shared the video. Thank you to anybody who signed up for a year. We're looking forward to seeing you in the product, and you guys can give it a shot and see how it feels for you. And then, I'll see you guys in the next live video. All right? See you guys next time.